Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in to Fishing Louisiana. Today's video, we're going to continue our rod build. We already did the handle and the grips and the reel seat. We got that all epoxied in. We got our tip on. We laid out our guides where we wanted them, and then we glued our guides onto the roll. Onto the rod. So in today's video, we're going to run through the process of wrapping these guides. I'm not going to get into a great detail on how I wrap, how the process works about wrapping them, because that's going to be a whole video on its own. I'm just walking you through the steps of building your own rod. And then after that, we're gonna get into more detailed videos. We're just gonna do a standard wrap on this. We're not gonna do no inlays and patterns with the thread. I just want to show you the basics on how to get your rod built, what the process is, how we do it, and we'll do more detailed videos as they come up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button. It helps out a great deal. We are raffling off a rod. It's not built. It'll be built around your specs that you want. We talk about it all the time on our live feeds and in videos. So it's $5 an entry, and January 1st, time's running out to enter it. January 1st, we're drawing the winner of that rod. And then we will be building that rod. Not sure if we're going to do it on video or not, but we will be doing that video. We will be doing the drawing live though. So let's get this camera set up and see if we can't get it so that you could see the process of this. Loop here. What I'll do now is I'll put my finger here to keep tension on this thing. I'm going to loosen this up. As you can tell, this has got a lot of tension on it. I'm going to loosen the tension up that's on the thread itself to where there's no tension at all. And then we'll cut this, send it through that loop of that yellow thread that we tied on there, and then I'll pull that tight. Now I'm holding that so that the tension's still on there. I'll grab that yellow one that we tied. Now I got the tension on it. Now I can let go. So we don't want this thread end hanging out of the rod. So what I'll do is I'll cut this as close to the threads as I can. You don't want to nick the threads. And then you will pull this through. As you can tell, you can't see it now. It's all tucked up underneath there, but you do have a little dent there. It goes in like that there. So what I'll do is I'll just loosen that part up a little bit, and then we'll spin this thing. We'll spin this, and as I'm spinning it, I'm putting pressure on the threads to tighten them up. And then we just smooth them out like this. This will tighten up any gaps you have. And that's our first wrap. Looks pretty good. No gap here. Pleased with how that came out when we got our hook keeper on. So what we'll do is we'll keep moving down this rod. I'm going to want to get my wheels underneath this one, so we'll remove these rubber bands. Act as a brake to keep the tension on the rod so it can't spin back. We'll just pull that one out of the way so we can send our wrapper down here, and then we'll set it up behind it. We'll set this back up behind it. Just so we can keep tension on everything. And we'll put this rubber band back on here. And that's that. We have our first guide, our first wrap done. It wasn't the guide, but it was the hook keeper. Now this is our guide right here, you can see. And what we're gonna do on this one will have 2 wraps. And as you can tell, there's the black mark from that China pencil underneath there. So I gotta get that cleaned off, because if we epoxy over it, it's there permanently. So I get a piece of thread and go like this, and it will remove it. And it'll just take it off of there. And then you can get your rag and clean up the sides and stuff. But you definitely do not want to epoxy over that. You do not want to epoxy over that that black line, because it'll be there permanently. So that looks good. Now on this one, we're gonna have to start wrapping here and wrap that way over this part of the guide. This is a double-footed guide, and then over here we'll have to start wrapping here and wrap back towards it. So we'll get this guide going, and we'll go from there. All right. We're going to do the same process. We're going to grab our little piece of tape. We're going to tape onto this rod just so it holds it on there, because tension on these things is your friend. Now, this gap here to here, I like to keep them all the same, and that's where my trusty ruler comes in. I pick a mark that I want to use, and I stay with that mark. So I have a problem with looking at things and seeing that they're not identical, and it will drive me crazy. I can tell by just glancing at something if it's exactly the same. Like tile floors, if you got a 6-inch tile on one end of the floor and a full tile on the other end of the floor, every time I walk in that room, I will notice that, and it'll drive me absolutely crazy. So I try not to do stuff like that, because if it drives me crazy, I'm sure it's got to drive someone else crazy. But then again, I could just be the only one that's crazy. You never know. So I'm going to tighten these threads up. We've got 1 wrap on there, well, we went around it about 3 times. So we're going to bring this back around, bring this down over here. Okay, we'll go around a few more times, and then we'll cut that off of there, just like we did on the other one. I like it to be underneath there quite a bit, because when I first started, I went around twice, I cut it, and then as I was down here working on this one, popped off. And man, that would be so embarrassing if you built a rod for somebody and the thread just came off. Oh man. So mistakes like that are really good, because you learn from them and you make your adjustments accordingly. You know what I mean? That'll never happen to me again, because now I'm worried about it. This transition over this foot is gonna be tough. I do have a lot of glue on top of this foot. It's gonna make it hump up. I do not like that. But then again, I told you this is my first time using the glue on the feet. So I'm just making sure I'm not gonna have no crazy humps or anything in my way. So I'm going to make sure all the glue is off the top of that thing. There we go. I got a gap at the bottom where it starts to come over the foot. I'm just going to let that go for about 4 wraps here. And then I'm going to start tightening this stuff up. Now I'll tighten these studs up and hopefully it closes that gap. I might have pushed too hard. Tighten all these threads up. Alright, that looks good. We'll get our little tie back under here. I always pull that thread through on the opposite side of my guide, because you don't want it next to the guide, because if it gets on the side of it, there'll be no tension. So I'll put this over here, put a little piece of tape to hold it out of the way, and then we'll finish spinning this thing up. Yeah, I like that right there. So we'll do the same thing. We'll hold it here, loosen the tension on the thread. Because if you don't loosen the tension, it's going to go boing and stuff's going to go everywhere. So loosen your tension. See, after you pull it through a couple times, I normally don't like using the same exact spot I pulled it through, because now my loop is so small, it's going to be hard to get this thread through there. And you're working one-handed now because you're holding the tension on there. So there's another mistake I did. You do want these to be a fat loop, but in this case it's not. It is what it is right now. We got no choice but to do it. That's why I try to use a different spot of that pulling thread, so that it's a nice fat loop. You can work it. But I mean, all these things you'll pick up on as you do it. Just get that to hold. Nice. I can let go now. We'll cut this as close as we can to it, and then we will pull this through. Pull it through nicely, and we'll start tightening everything up better. Nice wrap. I'm pleased with it. We got some glue here. There we go. That's off. And then we'll just move right on to the other one. Now this one we're going to have to wrap this way like we just discussed. So we'll unwrap this. Sometimes when you oh no, my thread wrapper came apart here. Hold on one second. Sometimes when you take these things apart, they twist up. That's why I try to take the tension out, because the tension normally what causes that. So There we go, we fixed it. I really do like this wrapping machine compared to some of the other ones I looked at. I like this one. I got the wheels. I had added the wheels onto it so I could slide it. Plus it has the slider right here. This one is a really good quality. I'm really pleased with it. Now I'm shooting for, let me get a wrap around here to hold it. Now I'm shooting for the same distance from here to here on the feet. And that looks really good to me. So we're just gonna go around it a few times to make sure it's on there. We're not gonna try tightening anything up yet. Okay, now we're gonna take this off of there because the end one is a little loose on the outside. So what we'll do is we'll take this, and like I said, I don't want nothing up here by the guide. I want everything on the back. So we'll pull this down this way, get it down here. And then we'll tighten all that stuff up. I'm going to go around a couple more times and then we will cut that off. Looks good to me. So we'll cut this off. And now we're back wrapping. We'll stop every now and then, tighten up our threads, keep everything nice and round. I went up extra high on this one because I'm trying to get over that foot. I have some files and stuff coming in the mail, and if you file these lips on these feet, it will travel up it a lot better, but I do not have those yet. So, and I do not like the way this is coming out. So we're just gonna loosen it up a couple runs and keep going. Alright, it looks horrible right now, but I'm just trying to tighten everything up now. When I use the brandishing tool sideways, it'll tighten up, it'll level all that out. So we got a nice thing going there. I'm gonna loosen up because, as usual, I forgot I have to put this in there, and I do it all the time. So now I have to put my hook thing in there, or my catch here to catch this thread and pull it through. So we'll put that in there now. You have to send it through the opposite way because you're wrapping backwards now. Do like a little bit more tension, and we'll just keep wrapping. We'll tighten some of this up here in a minute. Keep spinning around until you get to where you want to be. And on these rods, you got the flat part, and then it goes up. You want to stop your thread just before it goes up that 45. I think one more wrap here, and I'll be pleased with that. So I'm gonna back up, tighten these threads up. I'll go back forward, and we're gonna call that right there. We'll put our finger back on here. We'll loosen our tension up. Cut our thread here, send it through the loop. Never let go with this finger. If you let go, this whole thing will unravel. My finger is the only thing keeping it from unraveling right now. So once you get the other end, you can let go with this finger because you're holding the tension with this end now. Get your tape out of the way. Oh no, I pulled it through without cutting it. That's not good. But we can fix that. So what we'll do here is, I'm glad that happened because now we got our thread coming out of the middle of that. And it looks horrible. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna pull it towards the way it was supposed to go. Get a big gap there. Then we'll get our razor blade, we're gonna pull it a little more. Want a nice gap there. We're going to put our razor blade right next to it, and you're not going to slice, you're going to just chop. You do not want to catch one of those other threads. Just go straight down it. And then I'm just taking and making sure I don't see no blue in between this gray. And that's another one done. I would like to see this over just a little bit this way. And that's that. That is. I missed my mark by a centimeter. This one's 11 centimeters, this one's 10 centimeters. But like I said, I mean, I'm normally the only fool that notices stuff like that. So we're gonna let this one fly. But I like to keep them the same. All right, so stay tuned and we're gonna keep on going.